How's it going, everyone? My name is Iron Stark, and today I'll be showcasing how my Uchigatana build did in the Shadow of the Erdtree DLC. This video is going to be the finale of a sequel video for my video, the builds I'm taking into Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erdtree, where I prepared two builds, one with the Great Stars and one with the Uchigatana to take into the DLC on a fresh new game. A few things I wanted to establish before we begin the video. I chose to use strictly the Uchigatana and the Ashes of War I had prepared for the DLC to be an accurate reflection of the build that I brought into the DLC. Secondly, this showcase will feature most of the Remembrance bosses in Shadow of the Erdtree, and will include some talismans exclusive to it, so this video does contain spoilers. Third, for transparency, all footage was captured during the 1.12.3 patch, and was my second playthrough of Shadow of the Erdtree on New Game. Having played through the DLC once in New Game and twice in New Game Plus, I decided that I wasn't going to fight fair with my Uchigatana build. I immediately ventured through the Land of Shadow and ascended to Scadutree Blessing level 10 before fighting any Remembrance bosses. I considered my Uchigatana build to be powerful and versatile, able to deal heavy stance damage with Unsheath, or ramp up successive hit buffs very quickly with Double Slash, or its base moveset. Additionally, it possesses native bleed, making it compatible with Bloodflame Blade. I decided to gradually increase this build's level from 150 to 170 by the end of the DLC. This was my initial build with the Uchigatana at the start of the DLC. And this was the build that I used for majority of the DLC, gradually increasing more points into Vigor and Dexterity for more survivability and damage. I did change affinities for the final boss of the DLC, where I switched from Keen to Occult, and changed this build from a Dexterity build to an Arcane build accordingly, but the mechanics of this build were identical as using Bloodflame Blade with Keen affinity, only without needing to stop mid-battle to buff. The talismans I used for the DLC with the Uchigatana build were largely the same as the ones I used in the base game. Shard of Alexander, Lore of Blood's Exaltation, and Rotten Wing Sword Insignia were in regular rotation, as was the Dragon Crest Great Shield. I did rotate in the two-handed sword talisman as well, because even though this isn't a strength build, any player that two-hands a weapon mainly will benefit from this talisman, because it's a 15% increase to all two-handed attacks except for weapon skills. And I used the Golden Braid for the final boss for holy damage negation. For Incantations, I continued to use Bloodflame Blade for increased bleed buildup, except for when I switched from Keen to Occult, because you can't use Bloodflame Blade with Occult affinity. Golden Vow for its buff to damage and damage negation, and occasionally Flame grant me strength for an additional buff, but would more often use Black Flame's protection for added damage negation. My main physics sub throughout the DLC was the Thorny Cracked tier and the Opaline Hard tier. And lastly, some final notes. Oftentimes when I record these videos, I strive to give the best possible attempt that I can. I can be a bit of a perfectionist in that sense. With this video, I wanted to fight more organically. If I thought I could get the win, I fought for the win, no matter how sloppy the video looked. Lastly, the two Remembrances I neglected to include in this video were Putrescent Knight and Bayle the Dread for two reasons. Putrescent Knight I straight up forgot about by the time I respec'd this build to a new one for a future release, and wasn't going to use another larval tier. Bayle I didn't include because I didn't feel like going to Jagged Peak and facing the awesome power of Ancient Dragon Man. At any rate, enjoy the showcase.
thee. Depths of